What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We're going to be talking about this bad boy right here today. That is the custom fire control unit from Sig directly, the custom shop setup here. If you don't know the P320 platform, the way this thing is made, all the metal parts in there, basically the guts that are considered the actual serialized part, come right out just by removing that pin right there. And you can swap from grip module to grip module. Now, they're not the first company to come up with this design, but they are definitely the first one to capitalize on it, like they have done with the P320. And with that kind of modularity, you can swap from grip module to grip module, like this Wilson Combat version right here, which is absolutely awesome. I've got a review on all these. I will link some of those down below, or you can check out the Polymer 80 version right there. I run the gray one on my X-Carry. I love that thing because it's gray, and the Polymer 80 one really does feel quite good. Now, Sig also offers their own custom ones. You can get different colors. You can get the X series, you can get the regular, or you can get them in white because you want to show up to the range with your buddies and dye them orange. But when you try to dye it orange, you end up with this, which is basically the Tactanana. Hopefully that's gonna focus in for you right there. Try to dye it orange, it comes out yellow, and you end up with the Tactanana. So yeah, I'm gonna do another one and I'm gonna dye it a different color. So Sig dropped these, I wanna say mid to late last year, something like that. It might be a couple months off, but we had known that it was coming for a very long time. It took me several months to actually get one of these in locally because they were for sale at different places, but the prices were literally double what Sig's MSRP was, and that just has to do with all of the craziness that is going on in 2020 and 2021. Well, let's go ahead and take a really good up close look at this so you guys can get an idea of what the custom fire control unit looks like, what it comes with, and what the differences are, because we're gonna break out my M17 and kind of compare that setup to this so you get an idea of what the real differences are, because this is very much like the X series fire control unit, but there are some minor differences in there. And then of course, we're gonna take a look at the range footage, talk about the performance of it out there, and then talk about the price and why would we do something like this. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this fire control unit right now. All right, let's go ahead and knock out this custom shop fire control unit right here from Sig. So one of the great things about the P320 series that we'll talk about, because not everybody knows, is that setup right there comes out completely. So you lock that back, turn your lever down, slide comes off. This whole module is removable by pulling that out, pulling up on the rails. This one's still a little tight, so if it is tight, you can just use your takedown lever, get up underneath and pull a little bit, give you a little bit more leverage. So this is the fire control unit right here. This is the part that is considered the serialized part. This is just a grip module. The great thing about that is I can take this slide, as you can see here, something that I've been playing around with. It's my carry slide with a Zafiri precision barrel and a Harrington arms comp. Show you more of that in a second. But I can take this fire control unit and put it in, say, the Sig M17 setup. I can use this slide on here. I can use this slide on there. I can use this fire control unit in here. It's a 100% modular platform. So what do we get with the custom fire control unit? As you can see, if you're into the gold member thing, Austin Powers wise, it's gold nitride. Some people dig that, some people don't. I'm pretty much apathetic. Gold nitride is a definitely durable coating, has some lubricity properties to it, and is very tough. What we are gonna get in here performance-wise is a much nicer trigger. Everything from the profile of the trigger is nicer, tactile-wise, it feels quite a bit better, but it's also much lighter, and the take up and reset is reduced, I think about 25%. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But it's a far better feeling setup than the factory one in the M17, which we will compare in a minute. Now, Sig does say that, oh, it's got a custom fire control unit serial number. Who cares? That doesn't do anything for performance. So that is really it when it comes down to the performance. And then of course, since this is considered the actual pistol, you can buy this and then build whatever you want, however you want. And we're gonna talk about that right now. So you just get this back in here, just the exact opposite of how you pulled it out. And then we're gonna talk about that modularity, do some trigger pulls here, of course, because I know you wanna see that stuff. But, so this is in here on, this is the X5. This is the original X5 Legion style grip with that big weight down in here, so it is super heavy. Because of the modularity here, I can use the slide from the RX-PX Full that you saw on there, or I can stick on my X Carry slide with that nice Harrington Arms comp and Zafiri Precision barrel and have an almost perfectly flush absolute hammer on the range. More videos on that slide coming soon. So let's go ahead and do some trigger pulls on here so you get a really good idea of what this is. We're also going to do trigger pulls on the M17 so you can see that difference. Like right here, you can see the differences in the trigger shoes. This definitely does not feel as good as the custom shop one. So let's go ahead and knock out. We'll just do 2 apiece to give you guys an idea here. And then I'll show you kind of up close the reset on them as well and the take up so you get an idea of the distance as well. That was quite a bit lower than I have been getting. I'll pull a little higher on the trigger bar, but like I always say, work leverage, pull as low as possible because you're gonna get the best trigger pull. So that's about 3 pounds and 4 ounces. I've been getting a little closer to 4. So I'm gonna pull a little bit higher to give you a really good idea of what we're dealing with. So right there is about what I expected, and that is gonna be for just over 4.5 pounds, about 4 pounds and I don't know, 10 ounces, something like that. So let's go ahead and do trigger pulls on the stock M17 here. Nothing done to this. I'll give you guys an idea of what this one pulls like, and I'll try to pull from the same place. That is a lot higher. That's a 5 pounds and 12 ounces, right about 12 ounces. We'll do another one, and I will try to get a little bit lower this time because I do pull as low as possible on the trigger shoes. So that one, 5 pounds and 4 ounces on that one, which is, you know, not bad. But let's talk about take up and reset. So we look here, a lot of take up right there, little bit of squish and mush, probably I'd say about 3 millimeters worth, and then it breaks. Now the Sig trigger break is kind of just like a pluh. It just kind of happens. It's like you're exhaling. We'll take one more good look at a pull right there, and then our reset right there. So you can see, not the greatest in the world. Let's go ahead and do the same with our custom shop version. So take up, you can see quite a reduction, and the overall feel is much nicer. So here's the break. Still gonna have some creep and a break. There's your reset, and probably about 2.5, maybe 2 millimeters worth of creep and a break. So if you work it slow, you're really gonna notice that, just the way that trigger performs, but definitely far nicer all around. Let's go ahead and talk about how this functioned out on the range, the cost of this, and of course, why. Ooh, some people just love that gold. So talking about the performance of this out there on the range, definitely has a far better trigger than the original P320, and it's on par with the X. Now I do have some aftermarket setups that I have used in the P320s, such as Apex, which literally takes the trigger to an entirely new level. But as far as this is concerned, it's got that nice nitrided coating. It's got that much better feeling, not only lighter trigger pull, but a much cleaner feel tactile wise in your finger, because it has that skeletonized X style trigger in it, which does offer a lot of performance gain over the factory one like you saw in that M17. Now overall, it felt great, especially in this X full frame here, which has the weight in the grip. Just makes an absolutely very nice package out there on the range. Although if you were carrying this thing around, it is heavy. It literally weighs more than a 1911 the way it's set up right now. So be prepared if you build it on that X full weighted grip module, you're gonna know you're carrying this thing around with you. Well, let's talk about that price. So that thing is MSRP'd right around $299, which I think is a pretty fair price for the fire control unit. Problem is, being with everything that's going on, And depending on where you're able to find it, a local store will probably give it to you for that, which is what mine did. However, I've seen them online over $600 or more because people are just panic buying everything that they can. So at that price point, let's talk about why you would want to do this. Why would you want to build this? There are a couple different reasons for that. You may want to fully customize your setup with barrels, whatever you want to do, or you may not be able to get the exact version of the SIG that you want. Taken for instance, if you want that 320 RX PX carry, that's not actually being sold outside of like government contracts or something right now, which is kind of weird, but you can't get that. You either have to buy a full-size one or a carry model and then buy the different grip module. Or say you want to do something cool, like build something like this right here, which is the carry slide with the Harrington Arms comp. You can literally just swap it over, take that slide off, put this one on, or in your own grip module very quickly. And here you have something that is just absolutely super cool, ton of fun out on the range. The Zafiri Precision Barrel, Harrington Arms comp, and just swap out for what you want. And it has an almost perfectly flush fit. I will be doing a review on all of that whole thing going on here, probably in a couple of weeks once I get a few hundred more rounds through it. But it gives you the opportunity to build it exactly how you want right out of the gate rather than having to buy a full RXP or a full, P320 and then start changing part after part. Well, now we get to the part of, is it worth it? Is building something like this worth it? And that is going to be up to you. So when you think about it, if you buy a factory RXP X full size right now that comes with the Romeo 1 Pro optic and pretty much ready to go out of the box, that thing's well over $1,000 right now, if you can even find one in stock. So you get your fire control unit, you can buy a grip module, whether it is the factory or something like the Polymer 80 or the Wilson Combat. Those are gonna range anywhere from like 50 to maybe a little over 100 bucks. Say you want the X5 full or the X5 Legion grip, then you're gonna have to buy a slide and a barrel. So slides like the Live Free Armory one that I did a review on, I'll link that down below. I wanna say those were like $200 to $250. You can get yourself a Zafiri Precision barrel, threaded one, a regular one, or a Polymer 80 barrel like the video I did on that. $140-ish depending on what you want to go with. And then you're going to need a spring, which is like 50 bucks for your recoil spring assembly. And you're going to be in business at that point. And you can get out there and pretty much have what you want. Some of the positives to doing your own build like that, you don't have to be stuck or married to the Romeo 1 Pro pattern for an optic or have to buy a conversion plate. You can get a custom slide from whoever or wherever, whatever price you want to pay. This directly milled for an RMR. So directly milled slides are always going to be a little bit better as far as optic attachment than it is going to be using some kind of conversion plate up in there. Even though there are companies out there like C&H Precision who makes awesome conversion plates, and I use them on a bunch of different setups, it's just never going to be as solid as screwing directly into the slide itself. Now, as much as I dig this thing and the build that I did with it, I don't know if I would buy the custom shot fire control unit again because I already had 2 other SIGs. And if I really want to kind of run this for the day, all I have to do is swap out my existing fire control unit and put that slide and everything on there. But if you're building it from the ground up and you don't have another P320 or you don't want to do that, then it's probably a good way to go. And that's really going to be up to you to determine whether you want to spend that coin building something like this, which is gonna be just an absolute monster out there on the range. Now, I'm really curious to know what your thoughts are on the things like this, especially that fire control unit, so let me know in the comments down below. And that's what I have for you all today. I hope you liked learning and seeing that fire control unit and some of the other stuff like that Harrington comp and that build that's gonna be coming up in another video really soon. A huge shout out to all of my Patreons out there. Your support is absolutely awesome. And to Shall Not Comply, who handles all of the swag for the channel. Link down below for both of those things. You guys get out there and have some fun on the range. Remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you guys on the next one.